The man the Seahawks drafted 18th overall, a guy who I wasn't too familiar with until yesterday. I mean, I'd seen his name in draft boards. I knew that he was a possibility for the Seahawks because they were a heavy favorite to go offensive line. But Gray Zabel, and looking at his specs, he is nearly 6'6". He's 312 pounds, has 32-inch arms, won a couple national titles at the FCS level for North Dakota State. But the things that you really need to know, the exciting things that we learned last night. Fabulous mustache.
Yes, sir.
Was playing Settlers of Catan as he waited for his name to be called. And then additionally, when he was on the call with the Seahawks media, asked what he was going to do tonight to celebrate, he said probably break into this case of Busch Light. And that endeared him to many beer drinkers across the globe, and especially in the Seahawks fan base. Then one of his brothers or someone at the draft party tweeted about 90 minutes later, the @Busch Light is all gone. We might need some help here. And now today, Busch Light or Busch Beers has responded that they would like to help support one Gray Zabel and his family in their celebration.
You knew they would, right? You knew they would. I'm not surprised that Busch Light stepped up. We'll probably see some like Gray Zabel personalized cans or get him some Busch Light and some Milwaukee's Best sent right to his new place in Seattle. So.
I'll tell you right now, though, like he got an A- from me. Because that's a ridiculous beer take. You can't be like, I can't wait to have Busch Light. Like, even in college, I wasn't like, I can't wait to have Busch Light. It was like, okay, cool. I have enough for Busch Light, and then maybe I'll have enough for pub beer tomorrow.
Right, that if you were going to
need better beers.
If you were going to name drop, you would have name dropped something a little bit higher up, or just said, I'm going to have a beer.
I would have said I'm going to have a pub beer, of course.
Yeah, we are the show of pub beers. That is no question about that.
We are also sponsored by Coors Light. They own
our Ducks coverage.
Our Ducks coverage is sponsored by Coors Light.
And our coworkers are at 10 Barrel drinking pub beer right now.
Exactly. Well, and there's also, I don't know if everybody knew this, Coors owns Miller, so Miller High Life. Great cheap
the
beer
champagne
to mention.
Of beers.
Exactly. Got to go with something like that. So Zabel, though, a great draft pick for the Seahawks. Their fans were crying for an offensive lineman. I saw Seattle sports host Brock Heward. Literally, I was watching the pick live on air as it was made, and Brock Heward jumped up and started screaming. So definitely seems like the Seahawks fan base got what they wanted. And not only did they get, looks like a decent offensive lineman, but an athletic offensive lineman as well. It's kind of crazy to see how quickly he goes out and gets that block out to the side when he's running, they're running, a counterplay.
He's getting a reach.
Thank you. That's Now I'm going to leave the rest to you, Will, but just how fast he is was very impressive, and it seems the Seahawks got the guy that they were looking at the whole time.
When you look at him athletically, he just jumps off the page, especially for someone who's going to play guard, right? Like, I believe at...
Does he have the versatility to play multiple spots on the line, or is he
he's got
guard?
5... He's played in 5 different positions. Okay. So he's played every single spot. He's more than likely going to be a guard.
Career-wise, that's
Seattle.
where he fits the best?
That kind of seems to be where he fits. And, like, back in the day, what you used to do is, like, is the guy good enough? Is he got quick enough feet to be a tackle? No, then he's a guard. At center, hey, is he smart enough to run the offense? No, then he's a guard. But Quentin Nelson has kind of changed a lot of that thinking, where it's like, hey, sometimes you just want a really good guard. Like when Seattle had their first Super Bowl run, is because one, they had Walter Jones, who was the best left tackle in the game at that point.
Also had Hutch.
But they also had Steve Hutchinson, who was paving the way. And the minute that he left Seattle from that guard spot and he went to Minnesota, Sean Alexander's career completely changed, right? He went from an MVP to basically out of the league. When you look at the numbers here athletically, like Zabel, he's got over a 35-inch vertical. He's broad jumping over 9 feet. His shuttle is absurd. He's running his 3-cone in a 7.66. Like,
yeah, I'm sorry. Seeing a vertical of 36 plus inches for a guy who's 312 pounds seems a little bit freakish.
Yeah, he jumps off the board.
As Dan Lanning would say, he's twitchy.
Right, and they're going to have him start at guard, and I think that's to get him on the field quickly. I wouldn't be shocked if, based on some injuries or some movement, in like a couple years they move him over to center. I wouldn't be shocked if, Abe Lucas, who's had some injury issues, when he's on the field, the guy is great, but he's had injury issues, so maybe that's a spot where, hey, you can bump him out to that right tackle position. There was a lot of movement and struggles in that spot until Abe Lucas came back, and you don't want to have that issue again. He's just an athletic freak. He comes from a school that produces top-tier offensive linemen every year. The Bison have guys that get drafted. This is a guy who was getting, six-figure NIL offers to leave North Dakota State, but he wouldn't. He just fits everything that they need because you can use him in a bunch of spots. He's clearly a mean, angry guy, and he's athletic as you know what. He's the size that he can play a bunch of spots. It was the perfect pick. It's what all of Seattle wanted to be drafted for the Seahawks, and so they nailed it.
And just cherry on top of what you said, Will, North Dakota State produces a lot of those guys, but there were still questions about Zabel coming in like, hey, you did it in North Dakota State. Can you, use that agility against the guys that are as good as you or possibly better? He came into the Senior Bowl. I think he played guard and center, and he did absolutely amazing. So answered all those questions, and this is a pretty weak draft for interior linemen, and it looks like the Seahawks scored one of the three best ones.